As a psychic species, here's one thing I should warn you about humans. Do not, and I mean do not, read their minds while they're focused. It's not because of the rumors that humans will kill you with their minds when you invade them. No. Quite the contrary, we just find them weird. Their thoughts are like any other species' thoughts, sometimes stupid as well, and the only time humans surprised us was their ability to detect our intrusion into their mental physique, and it's quite a mystery to many psychic scientists at the time, until yesterday. So, as usual, I'm hanging out, a human idiom of social gathering, not literal execution, with a human friend called Toshi. He comes from Japan, a human nation. The galactic community is surprised when we found out they're still a fractious species. Anyway, his people have a sport called Kyudo, a martial art of throwing a projectile using primitive kinetic weaponry, like bows and crossbows. He offered me to watch him do his bow competition, and I agreed. The competition took place in his town, and everything felt rustic the moment I got there. Not that it's a bad thing, but it reminded me of my ancestors' similar infrastructure to Japan's, due to them having earthquakes and tsunamis. I wonder how humans figured out a way to combat such a volatile environment. Their ancestors managed to develop architectural designs to combat natural disasters way earlier than my ancestors. Sorry, I got off topic there for a bit. I'll get back on topic. The competition is a friendly spar, nothing else, nothing more. Toshi offered his other human friends at the bow competition some drinks if he lost, and if he won, they'd have to buy him some cultural items, which I knew at that moment he meant porn because of my psychic abilities. It's funny how a human seems innocent and nice on the outside when they're as degenerate as the galaxy's horniest species in their heads. So, the competition began, and that's when I noticed something weird among them. The moment they started to focus on their target and draw the string, their consciousness disappeared. Like they've just disappeared. But I can still see their physical bodies standing still as if nothing had happened. At that moment, many emotions washed over me. I felt unnerved, shocked, and confused simultaneously, and once their fingers let go of their string, their consciousness returned to their bodies. No, vessels. I don't think I can call their physical shell bodies after that. Naturally, I freaked out because I thought they died. Literally. Toshi came over to my side and tried to help me, but I was still freaking out and I lashed him on accident. And that's when I returned to my senses and realized I'd injured my human friend. I quickly apologized, told him what I felt, and restrained my instincts from hitting him with my claws when he came close. You see, my kind, the Mikria, has beliefs that once an individual's consciousness leaves their mortal shell, it is believed that they've been sent to whatever is the equivalent of heaven in many other species' religious spaces. Heaven, paradise, nirvana, you name it. But these humans seemingly swam their consciousness out of their physical shells, as if it were natural. After I told him what I'd experienced, he looked at his friends and then back at me. He said that I could leave their dojo, their training grounds, and to get back to me later once I felt comfortable to interact with again. I hesitantly agreed and went outside to relax, wondering if this was a one-time occurrence. So, while I was waiting outside, I decided to delve into... what was the word again? Dive deeper into the rabbit hole again? This is not literal. It turns out, during my research on the human internet, there are many accounts of patients in hospitals waking up from their coma, which is a state of deep unconsciousness. At that point, if it were my species, we consider the patient dead, and wish to end their suffering and send them their way to the doorway to redemption. But on some accounts, these patients recovered and even managed to remember their families. Of course, there's the human tale of terminal lucidity before the patients died, but that's even more terrifying from my perspective. Imagine your dead parents coming back to you in their physical shell once more, greeting you, acting like everything is normal, and just as it seems everything is going to be fine, they'll drop dead on the spot. It's... ugh. Can you pass me the liquid container? Thanks. Sorry about that, it's just... this is abnormal, okay? This is not how dying works in my religion. And that's when it hit me. Their consciousness. They can command it, but they can't exactly control it. And I think their ability to command it is alien to me. No other species can do that. Nobody can simply command their consciousness to leave their physical body and do whatever the heck Toshi just did. So, after I recovered from my trauma, and after apologizing 100 times to Toshi, and he apologized back as well, who was kind and understanding enough to forgive me, I went back home, reported this to the Galactic Senate, and now we're here. Now, why am I telling you this? Well, if the humans can control their consciousness one day, I think we're, for a lack of a better word, and using the humans' words, we're fucked. Why am I saying that we're going to be in trouble? Well, think about it. Us McRhea and other psychic species out there can peek into the minds of others, but none so far can have their minds go around. And if the humans get the ability to go to the minds of others, as in their minds going into other races' minds and get back to theirs no problemo, yeah. Now do you get my point? Oh, then why aren't they classified as psychic yet? Well, like I said earlier, they can command it, but they can't control it. Unlike them, we can control our minds to peek into other minds, and that is enough to classify as a psychic, since, well, that's basically a privacy invasion in the eyes of other species, and rightfully so considering what I've seen in Toshi's mind. But if humans realize they can move their consciousness around, they can simply avoid being mind-read by other psychic species, basically safeguard their mental information via means of mental concentration. Ugh. Can we focus on how this is going to shape the general psychic and non-psychic populace, rather than military implications? Everyone will look at humans thinking they will invade their minds. I don't want their reputation going down, as that's diplomatic suicide. Their reputation is as barbaric as it is. And worst of all, psychic species might be traumatized by these. I know some who are fanatically religious, and they might kill all humans because of this sole reason. Can we please enact a treaty on psychic species? I don't want any psychic going through the same thing as I did. Almost all of them are religious like me. It'd be political suicide on psychic nations if this ever gets out. Please?